I want to talk about a couple things. Okay, so this is kind of like going to be a ramble, but I'm going to try to keep it all in the same, like, keep them all the topics in the same box. Okay, so like, they might sound different, but at least they're all coming out of the same box. Okay, so I want to talk about how, like, what do I think? Now, this is just what I think. But what do I think one of the purposes of life is? And, like, some other shit around that. Okay, so, like, one of the main purposes I feel like in life is the purpose of like growth or learning. Like I heard this saying a long time ago. I forget who said it, but somebody said something about like Earth is a school that souls come to learn, to gain knowledge. And they were talking about how like Earth is the only place where your soul can gain more knowledge. Like the way they were describing it is like imagine after everyone dies or before everyone was born, your soul had a certain amount of knowledge. So like imagine everyone's soul has a different level of knowledge. And like it doesn't matter if you've lived thousands of years or had many different lives or whatever, you can only pick up the information you picked up in those lives. So like I think one of the purposes of this thing is for us souls to gain more knowledge, but not just knowledge because it's complicated, but to gain more. This is why, like, one of the most important things that I talk about, in my opinion, is the fact that I beat my mental health issues. That's why I talk about it so much, because I think that is one of the main purposes of reality. It's not just like learning knowledge or like learning how to build computers or humans learning how to make clothes or humans like it's not even just about humans trying to figure out what reality is made out of. Like, what is the dimension made out of? Is there other dimensions? What is heaven? What is hell? What is, like, it's not even just about that. It's also like learning how to control your own mind while it's inside of a body. Like, there's a lot of complicated things going on in the world. But, like, we're so kind of focused on the simple little things that these big things go over everyone's head because it never gets mentioned because this sounds like some conspiracy theory shit, some crazy psychedelic dude just talking about some crazy psychedelic ramble or some shit, or like whatever. But it just sounds like the crazy guy saying this is what the purpose of life is and whatever. But I really think that is one of the purposes of life, which is why I made it one of the main purposes in my life. Because I'm not saying that I know the purpose of life for every human or every person or everybody, but I figured out my purpose and I started walking that path. Like, when I talk about how I started my shamanic journey, because like I say that instead of saying I started using psychedelics because a lot of people use psychedelics, but there's very few people that took the journey seriously and not too seriously because that old saying is true, seriousness is illness, but took it seriously enough to know that I can use the psychedelics to help find myself, build myself, just to help be me. Like I use the psychedelics to face myself. I use all these different techniques that I've learned over the years to also face myself because it's not just about using the psychedelics, it's also been using the meditation, it's also been using these different methods and different lessons I've learned to be able to control my own mind and to rebuild my own mind. Like, because I think that's one of the main things is most people are born and then the world molds their mind into whatever the fuck their environment molded them into, and then they just continue life like that's just life, that's just who they are. And a lot of people don't ever really face the fact of like who they are and why they are who they are and if they even want to be that person. But that's what I think life is for. Like, we have every single day, you have the opportunity to look in the mirror and be like, do you like who you are? Do you like, if you don't like the food you eat every week, then change the food you're getting every week so it's food you actually enjoy. that's kind of what this life thing is. Like, if you don't like the way you're living, then change the way you're living so it can be a life that you actually enjoy living. If you don't like the way you think, then change your thoughts into something that you like, right? Like, as simple as those words are to say, it is literally one of the hardest things to do on earth. But the hardest things to do on earth, I feel like, are the main things that we should be focusing on. Because if you are focused on the easy way, the easy life does not feel good for people. Like, if you lived life on easy mode, by the end of life, you probably won't feel that good. You know, like, if you spent your entire life chasing happiness and chasing feel good pleasures and chasing, like, all that shit, like, chasing pleasure, then you're not going to necessarily feel good. It's complicated. You could chase pleasure, you can get pleasure all day long and still feel like shit. Because I really feel like part of this thing, like, we all kind of get it. We all kind of subconsciously get, like, that's why I feel like so many people, this anxiety thing, depression, all these mental health problems are literally the planet has the most mental health issues that it's ever had. The reason is because humans are the most disconnected that they've ever been. Like, back in the day, you were forced to be connected even if you weren't aware of that connection. Like, your family had to grow the food, your family had to, like, there was certain things that started happening that started disconnecting us, but then it's up to the individual to reconnect themselves to what the fuck is going on. But, like, just like it's up to the individual, if your environment turns you into somebody that you don't want to be, it is up to you to turn yourself into somebody you do want to be. That, like, there's no one's going to help you. Or, let me rephrase that. People will help you. No one will do it for you. And that's, I feel like, the biggest problem is so many people they want change, they want $1 million, they want this, they want that. But it's like they want somebody to give it to them. But if somebody gives that to you, you'll probably just fumble it the next day because you won't even be prepared for it. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Now, if somebody's just going to give you $1 million, take the money, bro. Fuck working for the money. Take the money. But what I'm saying is, it's not, like, the lessons you gain in life from attempting to get your dreams are more valuable than you actually getting your dreams. Like, the man that I have became on the journey is way more valuable than anything I could have gotten on the journey. Like, if I became a millionaire, a billionaire, a trillionaire, of this or that, have everything, none of that matters. Because I have something that is so valuable that no amount of money could buy it. No amount of money can buy me fixing my mental health issues. No amount of money could buy me healing, like, the way I think, gaining control of my mind, fixing, like, doing all these different things that I did to help me become the man that I am today. Like, no money did that. So it wasn't the money. It was me working on me. It was me learning what is wrong with me. Well, like, and there's nothing necessarily wrong. There's nothing wrong with anybody. It's just, if you are not who you want to be, there's something wrong. Like, it's because there's this weird thing where it's like somebody else cannot tell you that there's something wrong with you necessarily. I mean, we can all see each other, so we all see if somebody's fucking up. We see it. But it doesn't matter if we see it, because if the person doesn't see it, then they're going to say they don't have a problem. They're going to say there is nothing to see. Like, if we can all see, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a crackhead or an alcoholic, or like everyone can see that, like, I don't know, an alcoholic, but an alcoholic doesn't really see that they're an alcoholic. And if they do see it, then they can begin to change it. But if you do not see it, you can't change it. So you're just going to continue the thing like there's no problem. But the only problem is you don't have control over yourself and you don't know yourself. Like, because I think that's the main thing. it's not just like, because self-awareness is a big thing, but this is why I think this whole thing is like this school where like you can learn, you can become self-aware, figure out who you are, but then there's levels to self-awareness where it's like who you are as a person, why you became that person. Like if your environment turned you into somebody, okay, you're self-aware of that. But are you self-aware on the next level to be able to say, I don't like being that person, so I'm going to change? Like, if you don't like, the biggest example I could think of is anxiety. If I asked somebody, like somebody came to me and was like, I have anxiety. And I'm like, well, do you like having anxiety? And obviously they're going to say, no, I don't like having anxiety. Okay, then why do you tolerate it? Why do you allow yourself to be put in those type of situations that give you anxiety? Why are you not putting yourself in situations that help you relieve anxiety? Like, why are you thinking thoughts that are making you anxious? And like, yes, I know it's not that easy to be like, if somebody says, why are you thinking the thoughts that make you anxious? I don't know, it's just the way I think. Like, yeah, I get it. But unless you, like, that's why you have a life. You have your entire life to literally wake up every single day and try. How many people are waking up every fucking day trying to become a better person? They say, this is who I am, this is how I've always been, and that's the only thing they say, and then they continuously live the life that they hate. Stop for a second. Like, and think, what can you do that can start the change? Like, because it's not going to all change overnight. I say this all the time. I was some thug type dude, but it took me about 10 years to fix that in myself. Like, but if you asked me 11 years ago, I would have said there was nothing to fix within myself. So, it didn't matter what people told me. It didn't matter if they said, you're not a thug type dude. That's not who you are. So, stop, whatever. You don't got to be like that, bro. You don't, and I'd be like, what? This is just who I am. Except I didn't say it like that. I would have been like, yo, man, what you mean? This is just who I am. Sounded like, that's what I would have said it like, whatever. But it was me looking at me. Like, I had to sit alone. And one day I looked in the mirror and probably started crying because I was like, who the fuck am I? Like, I didn't know who the fuck I was because I thought I'm black, I'm supposed to be a thug, I don't know how to fucking explain it. But being mixed kind of fucks with your mind sometimes because I was like, am I black? Am I white? Am I this? Am I that? I don't know. I didn't know. Eventually, I had to start figuring out, what do I like about myself and what do I not like about myself? And it's the work I did every single day. It wasn't just the psychedelics. It wasn't just the plants and herbs. It was me putting the daily footwork in every day. No excuses. No excuses. I guess that's the problem. People make up excuses for why they are the way they are, for why they think the way they think, for why they have anxiety, why they're depressed, why they're not happy, why they're not living the life they want to live. Like, in the 24 hours in the day, you can literally do whatever the fuck you want to do. Like, I mean literally, whatever you want to do. It's so crazy that it doesn't cross our minds that you can leave your wife or your husband tomorrow, that you can leave state tomorrow. You could sell your car and get a different one. You could sell your house and save that money and start a business with it. You can start a business. You could save money from your paychecks every week to start a business. You can, whatever. You can go to the beach. You can go get some hot chicks and get in a three-way relationship. You can do whatever you want. The problem is people care way too much what other people think about them. Like, and I've been like this forever. In the beginning, it was my ego, which it was a great tool to truly not give a fuck what people think about you. It is the greatest tool ever. But with ego, it's kind of dangerous But when you're doing it from a state of self-love, it's a great tool. Because, like, I realized that, so I was a thug. But that's me not liking who I was as a person. So I don't give a fuck if anybody else likes the techniques or the things or likes the fact that I use psychedelics often, or like I don't give a fuck what people say about the things I have had to do to become the person that I am today. Like, if I thought about what people thought, like, oh, they're gonna think I'm using psychedelics too much, they're gonna think I'm abusing it, like, I don't give a fuck. At least I'm fucking healed now. I'm me now. I'm free now. Like, I can't think about, like, how people think about me. I have to make sure that I think about me in a good way. Because before, when I was that thug type dude, it's a weird situation. When I was the thug type dude, it's like people thought about me in a better way. Like, it's weird. I become more mentally free, more just a better person, and they're like, oh, he's lost his mind. Those psychedelics made him lose his mind. See? That's why you shouldn't have been doing those psychedelics that often. You're losing your mind. And I'm like, how did it never cross anybody's mind that I lost my mind when I was a kid because I became some thug type dude? Nobody said, yo, you lost your mind. You weren't like this when you were a kid. Why are you acting like a thug now? Like, it didn't cross their mind that I lost my mind then. But when I began to do the process to heal me, to love me, like, because when I was the thug, this is where self-love gets involved. Because, like, how do you love yourself if you don't even like yourself? If you don't like who you are as a person, it's going to be damn hard to love you as a person. So, like, I had to become somebody that I could even, like, I had to become somebody that I like so I could be someone I love. Like, I didn't like the way I thought. I didn't like the way I thought about other people. I didn't like the way I thought about myself. I didn't like the way I spoke. I didn't like the way there was so much I didn't like about myself that because I have a human life, every day I could choose to change the things I don't like about myself. And my main goal before I die is to be a man that I fucking love. To be a man that I admire. Maybe it's the fact that my dad was in and out of my life as a kid. So, like, maybe it's like, I think to myself, I just want to become the man that I wish I had as a father. Like, not just like, it's not just I want to be the father to my daughter that, like, I never had type shit. No, it's I wanted to become the man that I needed when I was a child. And I became the man that I needed when I was a kid. I am that man today. Like, and it's a beautiful thing. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of facing myself, a lot of tears, like that old saying, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. That shit is real. Because, like, it has been hard to build myself into who I am today. Like, it's not easy to, like it is now. It's easy now because it's a routine. It's easy now because after you do something for so long, it becomes just normal. So, like, after I stopped negative thinking for so long, it became normal to think the way I think. When I stopped thinking like a thug, it became normal to think, I don't know, like a psychedelic dude. I don't know. At first, you start adapting little traits of, like, oh, you know, then people would say, oh, you're like a hippie now, or like this or like that now. Like, you start getting these traits because then people will notice you're changing. So they're trying to label you as something because, you know, you're changing and you're starting to act like these hippies instead of acting like this thug. The difference was I wasn't acting anymore. And that was the most freeing thing ever. The difference was when I was that thug type dude, I had no idea that I was stuck in a character. That I was stuck in this idea that I thought, like, this is who I had to be. And it's like I was playing this character. But once I realized it's not necessarily like, I guess we're all playing a character, right? Because personalities are so fluid and so like moldable that like it's kind of like a character. But the greatest thing for me, the most freeing thing for me, was when I became the person that I actually wanted to be. Like, because it's like, okay, because I'm not a hippie. Like, I have traits that people would consider hippies don't have. They're like, well, hippies don't have traits like that. Sometimes I get a little hype. Sometimes I'm a little whatever. Because I'm me. Like, there's still parts of me that's not like, I don't know how to explain it. But I can't, like, there's parts of me that I like, even if other people don't. Like, some people don't like the fact that I'm very confident. They say, oh, you're cocky. Sometimes I'm arrogant. And other people don't like that. But once again, it's not about what other people like. I like that. It helped protect me to this point. Like, the fact that I believe in myself, yeah, it might go on to a little bit of arrogance. But I don't give a fuck. Like, because it's not harming me. It doesn't make me feel bad about myself. It helps me in my life. It's helped protect my soul. Like, because I feel like that's what the ego is for. The ego is not bad. It's like you have this thing that can protect the weak parts of yourself. And if you can protect that part of yourself, that part can become you. It's like your ego protects the real you until the real you is powerful enough to protect itself. And that's what happened. I protected the real me. Like, by saying, I don't give a fuck what people think. By saying, I'm going to live my life the way I want to live it, no matter what. Whether people agree with it or not. Whether people say I'm crazy or not. Whether people say I should or shouldn't do that, or I should or shouldn't live like that. Or you can't do that, or you can't. No, you can't. Because that's what you believe, and that's what you tell yourself in your own head. I do not believe that. I don't think that way. And the thoughts in my head, I chose. So, like, I remember when the thoughts in my head were from the environment, were from the way I was raised, were from whatever. I, over time, decided to choose, I don't like that thought, but I do like that thought. So I'm going to remove that thought and replace it with a better thought, but I'm going to keep that thought. And that was a lot of work. Like, because a lot of my meditations weren't just sitting in silence. Some meditations I would sit there and do that. Work on replacing ideas. What do I believe? Why do I believe it? What do I think? Why do I think it? Where did that thought come from? Where did that belief come from? Like, a lot of work. Like, whether it was during psychedelic experiences, whether it was during meditation, whether it was just me sober sitting in my room in silence. Like, regardless, it's me working on myself. And I think that is the point of me being in a human body, is because I can work on myself. Not my body. Yeah, I can work on my body. I can work out and get in shape. That's great. But the body's going to die. My soul is going to live longer than my body. And I think that it's a good thing that my soul or my personality is a personality that I actually like and that I actually feel like is me. Because obviously I didn't feel like that thug was me, or if I did, I would have just stayed like that. Like, that's why I've sat there and said, if somebody has anxiety, do they enjoy having anxiety? And if they don't enjoy it, then why are they not working every single day to change it? It's possible. It just takes a lot of work. And it might take your entire life. That's the point of life. Like, it literally might take your entire life. And then by the end of your life, some people might say, you wasted your life. All you did was, what did you say? Work on your mind? Well, I made billions of dollars, and I bought an island, and that's great. But you're going to die with anxiety and depressed. I'm not. So, it doesn't matter. Like, this is a matter of you versus you. This has nothing to do with me. Like, the things you acquired in your life does not fucking matter. What matters is the person you became. So make sure you are the person you want to be. make sure that you're not just trying to get a bunch of things, because the real hard thing to do, because people think it's hard to get successful, it's hard to get rich. No, it's fucking easy, bro. Money is everywhere. Go get a job. Go live with your mom. Like, if you really need to save some money, go live with your mom. Get a job. Save every paycheck from that job for like a year or two. And then you have money. Still probably going to be depressed, though. Because fixing your mind might take a lifetime. Or it might take 10. Or it might take 100. Regardless, I think that's one of the points, to fix our minds.